Hey, this is here from Hexel.com. As promised before, we're going to look at the different animation types in this tutorial. There is a pretty overwhelming amount of animations on Android, different types, so you can accomplish the same thing with the different classes and ways. And yeah, that's why I decided to make this stuff. I think it's gonna be really useful for lots of you guys. And the animation types which I'm going to cover today are gonna be view animation, property animation, and drawable animation. Of course, there is much more than that. There is a transition framework, there is a canvas animations, but those three today are the main which most of us use. Right, the view animation. That's the oldest animation Android. It's been since the beginning. And there is two ways to use it, in Java or XML. Let's see. We just have a fade out animation for the square. Those two methods. There is not so many things you can do with the view animation. It's just alpha, scale, translation, rotation, that's it. But you can accomplish some trivial stuff like this. I create a alpha animation from 1 to 0, and the animations they don't have a default duration. You need to set it each time and start it from the view called start animation. There are other approaches to declare the animation in XML, like this, inflate it with the animation utils and start. The second type of animations is property animations, which were introduced in Android 3.0, which is great improvement. It's a huge framework, and it has those three main classes: value animator, object animator, and view property animator. Let's start with the first one, value animator. And yeah, property animations have a default of duration of 300 milliseconds and accelerate interpolator, the default one. Right, so value animator is a much cleaner API to use. For example, we can animate float from 1 to 0. The default duration is going to be 300 milliseconds. We don't set it. And yeah, but of course you want to apply those values to your views, right? That's why you set an update listener. In an update listener, you apply the values to your views, like this: animation get animated value, cast it to whatever you animate over, and set it on view. That's the Java approach. Let's see the XML approach. You create the animator tag in the animator directory. This is the value from 1 to 0 in here, and we inflate it using animator inflator. Load from XML, cast it to value animator. It returns the animator, the parent one, and then we set update listener the same way. And the view animations you put into the anim directory, which is designated for this old API. Right, and the second class is object animator, which is an improvement over the value animator for objects, views, all the stuff. So basically you don't need to call update listener, as you see in here. That's the Java approach. Object animator or float, the view property, start beginning values, and start. Much cleaner, looks really nice. simple. The XML approach, same, declare it. That's the object animator tag. Declare it in the animator directory. Here you go. Cast it to object animator. Set target. Yeah, you need to set target in here. If you use XML, almost the same number of lines. And the final one is which probably you use in most of all, is a view property animator, which you get by calling animate over the view, on the view. It returns this instance, view property animator, which is very similar to object animator, but it has even cleaner API and looks really nice, simple to use, but it doesn't have the XML approach, and doesn't need it because the Java one has such a pure API that it looks nice. Call animate, set, change all the properties you want. You can change multiple properties, and it performs better than the object animator if you have multiple properties, because it calls invalidate method only once after all the properties were changed, unlike the object animator, which will call invalidate each time. That's the way to go, view property animator. Let's say the third and the final category so far, which is drawable animation. This is actually very different from the previous. Its purpose to animate drawables with the frames. So it's like a 2D game developed. For example, I have those frames. And I set the duration for each frame, put it in the list, and animate them, which is like a lower abstraction of the animations than those previous approaches, because you control each frame. Let's see, first you need frames, drawables, anything, pictures, whatever you want. Create an XML drawable with the animation list tag, limitless loop, wherever you want, and fill it with items like drawable, duration. That's the time this frame is gonna last, 200 milliseconds, which is fine for like 2D stuff, 2D animations, pixelated stuff. Then there is the only Java approach for this. I set this drawable on the view in here, src, get drawable from this image view, cast it to animation drawable, and start it. I call stop because as a one-shot animation, it won't run one more time when you click it without stopping it. That's why you need to do that. And I just put it animation.vector drawable in here because it's very simple to drawable animation. The Java part, very similar. Get drawable, cast it to animator vector drawable, and the main part is in XML, of course. Vector, the name, we're gonna fade out it as well, like this. And forgot to show you what it looks like. Yeah, that's the drawable animation. That's the vector drawable. Square, we animate the fill, fade out the fill. You need to set the name of the path, not the group, because it's a fill animation. AVD, it uses object animator, declared in here. Fill fade out. Property type fill alpha, and basically the same. Yeah, those were the main three categories for animations. Go ahead and download the GitHub repository, it will help you a lot to structure stuff. In this class, when you look at it, it doesn't look so confusing, like frustrating, overwhelming. So you see everything is categorized with the Java XML approaches, those three categories. I think it's really helpful for beginners to understand the differences between those. Which one was first, which one comes after, which one is better. View animation is the oldest one. The view property animation is the best and the cleanest way to animate. Right, thanks for watching.